and welcome to Gate to Wire. I'm Bruce Casella along with Dani Gibson, and our special guest today is John Julia, a current PTHA board member and is running for the president of the Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association. Hi, John, and welcome to Gate to Wire.
Bruce, Dani, thanks for having me on. Very excited to be able to chat with you this afternoon.
Oh, good. Me too.
John, Dani and I will alternate questions that we feel are important to the membership of the PTHA, and Dani's going to go first. Go ahead, Dani.
Yeah, John. So we have to start with the beginning, right? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your experience in the racing industry as an owner?
Yeah, absolutely, Dani. So, I've always loved the industry. Always loved the sport and the business. Had an opportunity, and actually, I got to tell you, I'm going to take the opportunity to thank some people, right? Because I was very fortunate, probably close to 10 years ago, to be born into the business by friends of the family, J.J. Gracie, very close with his son, Chris Gracie. We used to work together. And after years and years of, watching Chris in the business, I had an opportunity, again, probably about 10 years ago, to partner with him on a horse. And unfortunately, that horse won the first time out. And it won the second time out. And it won the third time out. And Dani, I've got to be honest with you. I sat around and I said, this is the easiest business in the world. Why isn't everybody doing this? They're giving money away. Right. 10 years later, I learned that wasn't the case. But look, I've been truly blessed. I've said this before. I get, I average around 100 starts a year. And it's almost like having 100 Christmas days in a given year. So greatest business of the world. And I'm very fortunate to be a part of it.
Awesome.
Great. John, what makes you feel that you bring the right skill set to the position of president, given the vastly different areas of expertise that you need for the job, such as the backstretch, human and equine, dealing with that, PTHA office staffing, accounting oversight, negotiations with the casino and track management, marketing, technology, insurance, and all the legal matters that go into being the president of the PTHA?
Bruce, thanks for asking that question. Great question. And quite honestly, you actually answered it while asking that question. I have a very diverse background. Primarily, I've come from the business community. I've worked in large corporate environments. I've been self-employed. I've worked for small companies. So having a general business background and experience is extremely important. Look, we're very fortunate in this jurisdiction with the passage of Act 71, right? For years and years and years, our business was funded and still funded today by a lot of revenue coming from slot machines. Unfortunately, the world has changed, Bruce, that the way people consume information, the way people view entertainment, the way they entertain themselves, you don't need to go to the casino to play a slot machine. You can do it right off your phone or off your desktop at home. All of those things, now we've entered into a phase where we need to be run like a business, Bruce. For a long time, we've had the opportunity to essentially run almost like a country club, where our revenues were vast and protected, but we see an attrition of that slot revenue. And quite honestly, virtually all of our purses now are funded by slot revenue. Now more than ever, we need a business leader. We need somebody who understands the game. We need somebody who understands market growth, penetration. And my background, again, comes from a corporate world, comes from sales leadership. I've run teams. I've run global teams. I understand the intricacies of labor law. I understand the intricacies of running a business, of growing revenue, of balancing a budget, of profit and loss, return on investment, total cost of ownership, internal rate of return, all of the things that you would need to run and grow a successful business. But on top of that, Bruce, look, over the past 10 years, I've immersed myself into the horse racing business. I understand it. I live it on a daily basis. The third component to that, my corporate background just happens to be in technology. I've walked companies through over the past 15 to 20 years, global digital transformations. I've seen what technology can do for companies. I understand, again, the digital marketplace, how people communicate. Entirely different today, how people obtain information and how they share information is different today. So I think when you check the boxes of business experience, experience obviously within the horse racing industry and the thoroughbred industry, and especially technology, I bring all of those facets to the table to make sure that, quite honestly, that our better days are yet to come.
John, that's great. You definitely have a lot of unique experience. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges facing horsemen? And by horsemen, I mean our owners and trainers here at parks right now. Like, what are some of the challenges that you see here on a day-to-day?
Wow. So, there's a lot of challenges, Danny, and I don't necessarily know if I'm going to tick all of them off. But,
Right.
the best thing about challenges is that they open up opportunities. So let's talk about some of the high level challenges that we know just reside in this jurisdiction.
Yeah.
One, when we take a look at every major metric that would benchmark how we're doing as an industry within the state of Pennsylvania, unfortunately, Danny, it's heading in the wrong direction. So if I'm looking at something generic like foaling rates for Pennsylvania breds, if I'm looking at attendance from a track perspective, if I'm looking at live slot play, right? If I'm looking at purses, if I'm looking at the amount of racing days that we have during the course of the year, they're all headed in the wrong direction. And they've been heading in the wrong direction now year over year over year. Look, we got to change that course. We got to change that tide. Danny, there are two schools of thought, right? One is, hey, we're an industry under attack. Keep your head down. Don't say anything. Just hope that they don't take our last penny. Well, over time, guess what? They're going to take our last penny. The other school of thought is be proactive. Let's grow this business. Let's be proud of the business that we're in. Mm-hmm. So that is a major challenge. Here's another challenge that we have, Danny, that needs to be addressed. There's an old saying, right? Divide and conquer when you're talking about your enemies. We don't have to worry about our enemies dividing us. We divide ourselves. So when I look across the state of Pennsylvania, we have the PTHA, which is obviously the association that represents the horsemen here at parks. But we have the HBPA that represents the horsemen at Penn National and Presque Isle Downs. We also have the Breeders Association. Oh, by the way, we also have the Equine Coalition as well. We have we have our counterparts, the Standard Bred, that have their association as well. We all have a common cause. We all have a common goal, but yet we all are acting in our own individual self-interest. I'm going to throw another organization in there as well that I don't believe that we have, that we've tried hard enough to build those bridges and that's in those relationships. The agriculture folks, the agro folks. Danny, the second largest crop in the state of Pennsylvania is hay. Hay adds $800 million to the Pennsylvania GDP every year. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb. You think horses are important distribution channel, right, for hay? Yes, horses go through a lot of hay, right? So when I look at other industries, look at NASCAR industry. NASCAR, for all intents and purposes, is the entertainment side of the automobile industry. So, who depends on NASCAR? Ford, General Motors,
Right.
We can both win in partnership, but we need to start speaking the common language. We need to start having common benchmarks for success. We need to start working in collaboration with management, with our partners. Remember, we split slot revenue. It is vital for us to put people in the seats of that casino. We make a lot more money off of a dollar that goes into a slot machine than a dollar that's bet on a horse race. That's the pure factual mathematics of it, Danny. And we need to start thinking about reimagining our partnership with management as well. So it does not need to be antagonistic in nature, and it does not need to be competitive in nature. We can do it collaboratively where both parties win.
Yeah.
Good point. John, how would you ensure transparency in PTHA decision-making and communication with the owners and the trainers at Parks?
Yeah, that's, again, another great question, Bruce. So there's multiple answers to this. One of the things that we started doing over the past year or so is making sure that members of the advisory committee are in board meetings. Now, in previous boards and previous years, that was not the case. That there was no transparency out of what happened in the boardroom beyond the backside. So that's the first thing, that we're going to maintain that advisory committee, and they will have continued access to the boardroom and the board meetings. The second thing that we need to do is part of, again, what I would call a pillar or platform, is we need to modernize, Bruce. We need to modernize. We cannot run a business in the 21st century like we are living in the 19th century. So even in terms of communication, people consume information differently today. They consume it via text, they consume it via voice, they consume information digitally, online, proactively, right? And reactively, messages being sent to them. We need to look at unifying our communication strategy to the horsemen to make sure that they have access to information as soon as it is readily available. And that'll do another thing, Bruce, right? So gossip on the racetrack never happened, does it? Right? Never happened. Part of that is our fault, though, Danny, right? Because at the end of the day, if we are not providing horsemen with accurate, timely information, you're begging for rumor and gossip, and that does nothing to help promote our cause, create unity, and march onward, forward together.
I didn't even get to ask you, what motivated you to run for president? And what are some changes or goals you'd like to see, you'd like to achieve if you are elected? I never even got to ask what motivated you to run initially, because it's a big undertaking.
You know, so I want to be fully transparent as well. Danny, the past, particularly the past year and a half has been a little bit rough. You know, the last thing I'm looking to do or want to do on this podcast or even going forward is continue to stare in the rearview mirror. So, look, reasonable people can debate or disagree on certainly the things that have happened in the past, but I think that we all can agree that we need to move forward. We need to move forward. Not only do we need to move forward, but we need to do so proactively and aggressively. You know, people will say, horse racing is a dead sport. Horse racing is on the decline. I got to tell you, Danny, I disagree with that completely. As a matter of fact, the data does not indicate that. When I look at Saratoga every year, they are breaking records year over year with folks coming through the gate. I believe Monmouth has been breaking handle records year over year. And the same in Presque Isle Downs also had a good meet. When we take a look at, for example, Delaware actually just extended their meet. When we take a look at investment dollars, we know, look, New York, $1 billion is going in to Belmont. When they look at $1 billion investment that's happening down in Lexington as well, I look at areas and jurisdictions, again, I see the crowds that they take in at Canterbury. We're only talking about North America. When we start going outside of our lower 48 boundary, I look at Asia Pac, horse racing, thoroughbred racing is exploding.
Yeah.
Exploding globally. Again, right? You asked, Bruce had asked the question, what are some of the challenges that we have? Maybe that was you, Danny.
Yeah.
We look at other forms of entertainment. What are they doing in the NBA? They're expanding into China, into Asia Pac. NFL is expanding into Europe, right? We're seeing professional leagues that are expanding into South America, right? There's NFL games now that are taking place literally in South America and Mexico. Can we expand just past parks?
Yeah.
Right? The rest of the world is passing us by. The rest of the world is passing us by, and there's really no need for that. We can take advantage of a state marketplace, a regional marketplace, a domestic marketplace, an international marketplace, but it's going to require vision.
Right.
So hopefully I answered your question.
Did.
John, we could go on for hours talking with you about this. Before we go, is there anything else you'd like to say in conclusion here on Gate to Wire?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, Bruce, I'd like to, thank you and Danny again. I think that it's not just me. I mean, there are folks that are running for the board. There are new faces like Danny Velasquez and Mike Catalano, people with new ideas. Ron Ochino, who is his background is advertising as an entrepreneur. There are some very talented folks that are running for this board, and we need talent. We need folks that have drive, that have passion, that want to make the industry better. And we are really running on a growth platform. So when I look at what are the pillars and things, Bruce, that we need to address, it is the growth, the outreach, the diversification of revenue. We are in a dangerous place. We are in a dangerous place when we are supporting virtually 100% of our purse revenues or purses with slot revenues. That needs to be addressed. Modernization. Look, this podcast, right, historically has reached 100 people. Right? That can't be, Bruce, and that's not has nothing to do with you or Danny. But again, people consume information differently. If we are going to get our message out, we have to adopt digital platforms and digital strategies. We have to touch people wherever they reside or wherever they communicate, whether that be online, whether that be texting, whether that be through natural human communication, you and I having a conversation. But those are things that need to be addressed. Respect. We need to respect the game. We need to respect each other. Danny, I've heard a lot of women talk to me over the past couple of years about parks not necessarily being the most welcoming place for women. We cannot have that. We all have that common goal. We must respect each other. Once we respect each other, then we can demand that other people respect us.
I like what you said, respect the game. I think that's for putting the horses first and respecting the game ultimately. Yeah.
Absolutely, Danny. Right? Absolutely. How can you expect somebody to respect our business if we're not respecting it ourselves?
Yeah.
Right?
No, I definitely, that resonates with me.
The last thing I'd like to say, because again, I could have this conversation for days, let alone hours, is that we need to kind of get back to focusing on what is supporting the mid and small tier barns and owners. They are the backbone of this game, right? They are the backbone of this game. If we are driving folks out of the business who have smaller stables, at the end of the day, the bigger stables are going to go away as well, right? Because nobody wants to see 5-horse fields made up of a cumulative of 2 different trainers or owners. That's not good for the game. So we have to promote this business internally. We have to recruit new trainers into parks. We have to recruit new owners into park, get that capital flowing. And that all comes with education. So that's another big piece of what we're going to look to do. Make sure we're educating the public, that we're continuing to do some of the good work that's already been done in terms of educating the backside, continually educating our trainers, educating management on what we are doing for them. So yeah, there you have it.
Yeah.
I thank you guys very much, and I apologize if I talk too much.
No,
That
you
was
were
good.
great, John.
Well, that's going to do it for Gate to Wire. A reminder that the ballots are going to go out on the 17th of November and must be returned by December 31st. And Meet the Candidates Day is Thursday, November 20th. And you'll probably hear more from John then, and of course, Kate DeMasi and all the other potential board members. That'll be November 20th. And John, best of luck, and thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. We're on a mission to make horse racing great again in the jurisdiction of Pennsylvania. So I appreciate all your support and your help. Thank you.